Hello, and welcome to my little podcast I like to call Talk to the Doc, sponsored by sleepedu.org. My name is Mitch Naylor. Today we're talking with Dr. Mark Rasmus. Dr. Rasmus is one of the most brilliant physicians I've ever met. He's boarded in adult medicine, pediatric medicine, pulmonary medicine, and sleep medicine. He's also a nationally recognized speaker and a contributing author for Sleep EDU. Hello, Dr. Rasmus.
Good morning, Mitch. Thanks for having me on the call.
Not a problem. It's a privilege. I am not a clinician. However, I found this recorded presentation you had given to the Canadian Society for Respiratory Therapists. Its title is Cannabis and Sleep. And even as a non-clinician, I found the information fascinating. Why did you choose this particular topic?
You know, I think this is a particular area of interest in both the U.S. as well as Canada, given the local or recent political climate with legalization of marijuana and expanded use in the general public of not only THC-based compounds, but also compounds involving CBD, which in many cases are over-the-counter and completely unregulated. So I thought the extensive use without much clinical data warranted a further peek.
This presentation is offered as a course for which sleep technicians and respiratory therapists can receive continuing education credit. The course begins with a history of the use of cannabis. But what did you find most interesting?
I was amazed that not only did use date back to 400 AD, so we're talking about thousands of years of documented use, but also the fact that cannabis was in the U.S. pharmacopoeia until 1942, so it wasn't really until World War II era that it was made illegal in the United States. So I thought the use from way far ago, as well as the relatively recent criminalization of marijuana, was both surprising to me.
In the course, you describe physiological and neurological structures in the body that are sensitive to or process cannabinoids. You describe a couple specific receptors in the body that seem to start the process. Can you tell me a little bit about these and why they're important to sleep medicine practitioners?
Yeah, I think it's not only important to sleep medicine practitioners, but I think all, users of these compounds. We've found an endocannabinoid system, within the central nervous system of human bodies that represents neuroreceptors that respond to these phytocannabinoids that are released by plant-based cannabis. There are two main receptors, CB1 and CB2, in this endocannabinoid system, one of which, CB1, tends to be more sensitive to THC, and the second of which, CB2, which tends to respond to CBD, or cannabidiol. So I think without understanding the basic mechanisms of action and how these signals are passed throughout the body, it's nearly impossible to understand, how clinical use should be steered and directed.
While the title of this course is Cannabis and Sleep, I also noticed you discussed its effect on other organs and systems in the body. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the endocannabinoid system is actually throughout the whole body. Obviously we all focus on the central nervous system when talking about CB1 receptors, or those that respond to THC. But there, the immune system, the metabolism, our muscles, our hormone, our bones, as well as our GI system all have receptors for CB1 and CB2.
It seems like we're almost evolutionarily designed to process this. Was always wondering, and I don't think this was in the courses, was there naturally occurring cannabinoids outside of these plants?
Well, there's certainly naturally occurring neuropeptides that bond to these receptors. As far as naturally occurring THC or CBD, none that I know of. And referring back to the previous question, the other areas that have been very popular in terms of research with the endocannabinoid system include mental health disorders, including anxiety and depression, as well as those patients with chronic pain. Pain and mood disorders seem to be high on the list, aside from sleep, in terms of potential targets for therapy.
Fascinating. As a Marine, I'm very interested in pain and PTSD kinds of research. What do you think the future should be for cannabis research?
So research is really stifled now by federal regulations which limit the amount of research which can be done. I think the first thing that needs to happen in the United States is the change of the classification of the drug, so it's no longer a Schedule I drug, and instead a drug that's thought to have some clinical utility and therefore would be able to be studied and researched more easily. I think once we can see cause and effect or potential benefit for some of the more basic indications of cannabinoids, it would be then very interesting to look at different species or subtypes of cannabis to see if different species treat different disorders.
So basically we can't study it here in the United States so much because it's illegal, and we're going to have to go to foreign countries or something to get anything meaningful done?
I think to look at specific strains at this point or phenotypes of the plant, I think we would have to look internationally at this point. Fortunately, the United States does have research going on looking at THC receptors as well as CBD and its actions. However, when we look at the actual plants that are being purchased in dispensaries around the country, we can't look at those individual plants and see that one might work better than another for a specific disorder or ailment.
Very, very informative. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you, Dr. Rasmus, for giving us a few minutes.
Thanks,
and
Mitch.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And remember, this course is available on sleepedu.org. Look for the topic Cannabis and Sleep. For Sleep EDU, my name is Mitch Naylor. Thank you, and have a great day.